Greetings, my friends, and welcome to episode number 48 of Raf Stuff. Tonight we have a whole plethora of special effects. The first segment of the show, I really got creative and I show you a lot of neat stuff. I hope you enjoy that. And then the last half of the show is driving home from Newland. Newland is the county seat of Avery County, North Carolina. And I did it during the fall color season last year. Hi, I'm Ralph Roberts, here on Ralph Stuff, doing a special test of special effects. Special effects, of course, are those things that they do in the movies and on TV shows to make us think we're somewhere else or something else is happening. So basically I'm just shooting myself sitting here talking with a green screen behind me so that I can insert various things, and we're going to just have some fun during this with our special effects. Now there are a number of programs to do special effects with. I have several of them, and there are programs such as After Effects and Lightwave for animation that are commercial programs you have to pay money for. I happen to have those because I take what I'm doing seriously. But there are also a lot of free programs out there too. Blender, Blender3D.org is a wonderful animation program that's completely free. Open source. Just download it and start using it. And there are many other programs out there that you can use to do special effects with without having to pay an arm and a leg. Although you can use them to take your arm and leg off, maybe. Whatever you want to do is special effects. Special effects have been around for a long time, certainly since the early days of the silent movies, when they found out they could edit and make people appear to be places that they weren't actually. This is called movie magic, and we're going to see some just whatever my creativity inspires me to do when I'm doing the post-processing. Post means things you do to a film after it's actually filmed. And but we'll be showing you a number of those things, as I say, as whatever my creativity inspires me to do. And so it doesn't matter a whole lot what I'm saying now, since I'm using this just as the basic track to lay things down on top of. And we're filming this on February the 13th, 2008, here in our studios in beautiful downtown Alexander, North Carolina. Those of you who may not know where Alexander is, Asheville is a suburb of Alexander. So that should locate it for you. Asheville is about 8 miles from Alexander, and roughly the same distance the other way. Alexander is approximately 8 miles from Asheville, at least the part of Alexander I'm in, which is where this is being filmed, as I alluded to earlier. And we're using my high-definition camera. This is being filmed in high definition, although we won't be able to show it to you on TV here as high definition. URTV, which this is Channel 20 Asheville, which this is being shown on, is really standard definition. The difference is the size of the picture. Standard definition is 720 by 480 pixels. High definition 1920 by 1080. So you get a lot more picture information in high definition. Some of the satellite and cable channels now are high definition. Eventually all the broadcast channels will be also. And this is not to be totally confused with digital TV. which starts, I believe, next year, that all broadcasters will have to broadcast in digital, and your analog TV, unless you have a converter, won't be able to receive those signals. And some people are confused about that. I know a lot of TV salesmen are telling people that your analog TV will be no good after next year, and that's not true if you have a converter. And for example, what is a converter? Your cable box. That's a converter that can convert from digital to the analog signal that your TV expects to see. But most TVs themselves, in fact all TVs sold, I think from this year on, have to be digital, or at least digital. Well, yeah, digital. And again, I'm just talking, but the difference between digital and analog is analog has varying signals. Digital signals are made up of ones and zeros. They're either on or they're off, like your computer. Your computer's a digital device. Most cameras, like the camera I'm using here, is a digital device. I wonder what's happening right now. Of course, all I'm seeing is me against the green screen. I'm not seeing all the special effects that I'm putting in yet, but I'm looking forward to them. And we'll see who visits me and what sort of situation I get put into. Should be fun. Those of you who last year watched The Amazing Flying Chair, the program I did where I flew an office chair completely around the world and visited the Great Wall of China and the Great Pyramids and all sorts of places like that, understand the magic of the green screen. And I've done some video tips on urtvforums.org, for example, and also they've been shown here on Channel 20 that gives you an idea what a green screen effect is. Green screens or blue screens, or actually they can be any single color, are just backdrops, and then during post-production or even live you can take out that one color and put any sort of picture behind that you want. That's one of the parts of movie magic. Another one is being able to put things in front. Ooh, what's that going by? Put things in front of you. And you'll be seeing examples of both techniques during this show, if you haven't already. I don't know what I'm going to do yet because, of course, I haven't done it. And we're filming this actually not to film or tape, as you would expect with video camera, but directly to my laptop. So I probably should be looking at the camera more than my laptop, which is slightly to the left. But I'm using that as a monitor. I can see what I look like. Hi. Ooh, he looks good. Oh, what's that? Anyway, we're going to be seeing some interesting sights. As I said here, I should have looked to see what time it was when I started this. But I'll keep talking. What have I got around here that would be interesting to show you? I don't know. What's this book here? This is an old book. Geronimo's Story of His Life. Geronimo's the only one of the great Native American chiefs that actually got to tell his story, or his story is interpreted in 1905 by a New York Times reporter, of all things, named S.M. Barrett. And he wrote the book, supposedly as dictated by Geronimo. I know certainly if I was writing a book for Geronimo, I would not want to misquote him because he might find out what I said and take umbrage. And in fact, there's a picture in the book. Again, this book came out in 1905. And perhaps I'll bring the picture up a little closer if I'll focus in on it. Well, it didn't do it as well as it could, but this is S.M. Barrett, and I guess that's a translator, and Geronimo in the center, and he's dictating the book. So this book's probably worth $100 or so as a collectible. I have a lot of old books like that. I like old books. But I was just doing that to kill some time and to keep talking. You know, when I first started doing TV shows, if I talked for a minute, I was doing good for a minute at a time. Now I can sit and natter on, not necessarily always making sense, but natter on for 30, 40, 50 minutes at a time if I need to. Hopefully I won't need to this time, but because we're going to be doing special effects, and it doesn't really matter what I'm saying right now. Actually, there's some stuff over there on the counter. Mostly junk. No, it's not junk, it's good stuff. But I don't see anything worth the effort reaching over to show you. I just need to keep talking. And 3 minutes since I last looked at my watch. That's not going quite as fast as I would like. I think I'm being lit pretty well. I've got a 500 watt light bouncing off the ceiling. And another light over in that direction. You can tell that by the way the light is on my face. And there's a 300 watt incandescent sword to my side, which is shining on the green screen. It's very important to get nice, even lighting to get a good green screen effect. It's called pulling a chroma key. That's called in the video business. So, boom. That's about as close as I can get to dancing at this, the way I've got the camera set up here. Got my chair, I can go, actually, all the way around. Ooh, that makes you dizzy. I'm just looking to see if another job I had one of the other computers doing over there had finished. Okay. I think this is enough to do my initial test. If I need to talk more later, I will. So let's go see what kind of magic we can achieve. Well, hello, Rapid Ralph here. And I thought I'd throw in a bit of a trip I made last November. I'm on my way home from Newland, North Carolina, heading back towards Asheville. And you haven't seen this segment yet on Rapid Ralph Runs the Roads, which is my regular road trip show every Monday at 7 on URTV, Channel 20 here in Asheville, North Carolina. Beautiful fall colors. We're on Highway 221, just leaving Avery County and heading down towards McDowell County. And we'll come back through Marion and hit I-40 and come up over Old Fort Mountain and down into Asheville and finally over to Alexander. But I thought you'd like this ride, and it's a good change from all the special effects we were doing earlier in the show. I used to drive this road a lot back in the 70s when I was selling wholesale radio TV electronics. In fact, I would drive from Asheville every Thursday up to Boone and then on up to Ashe County, North Carolina, the very northwest corner of North Carolina, and spend the night and then work my way back down through Avery County and Yancey County and Mitchell and all those. So I sold a lot of tubes and TV antennas and resistors and diodes and things like that. We'll be passing through the big town of Crossnore. It's actually not too big, so you may not notice it. In fact, I think this is part of it, I believe. They raise a lot of Christmas trees in this area, by the way. It's very famous for Christmas trees. But Newland is, of course, the county seat of Avery County. And Avery County has the distinction of being the newest county, or the last county rather, formed in North Carolina. And that was back in 1911, which is pretty recent time here. By the way, we count time up here in the mountains. So it's very recent history. And as of 2000, the population was 17,167. Like many of the small mountain counties around Asheville, there's not very much population because there's just not all that much room on the ground because of all the mountains. And a lot of federal stuff like the Great Smoky Mountains National Park to the west of Asheville, and Pisgah National Forest, which comes up this way, and the other federal land and state land and such. So it's they just don't have the big populations like we do in Buncombe County, for example. You can see the colors are pretty good. Now remember, we had the drought last fall, so the leaf colors stayed around a whole lot longer. I'm going to stop here at this gas station, and for reasons we do not need to go into, brief pit stop, and then we're back on the road. Okay, I also got a candy bar, I think, so I left refreshed. But a bit more about Avery County as we travel along 221 here, going from Avery to McDowell County, skirting along the edges of Mitchell County. And on the other side of the road, we come very close to Burke County. Well, those colors are really nice, aren't they? Even though you don't get to see Newland in this episode, we'll still talk a little bit about it. Now, you will get to see beautiful downtown Newland. It won't take us too long in an upcoming episode of Rapid Reference Roads. In fact, I think that's in 3 or 4 weeks when that one will come up. Man, look at those colors, really neat. But as I told you, Avery County was formed in 1911, the newest county. There was one other county formed that year, which was Hoke County, H-O-K-E, which is down east. But Avery was the last county formed in North Carolina. And it was made up of parts of Caldwell, Mitchell, and Watauga counties. Watauga County, of course, is the county Boone's in, Spruce Pine, and Bakersville, and Loafer's Glory. My favorite place is in Mitchell County. So all this stuff is close, and I come up here pretty often. Avery County was named for Whitesell Avery, and he was a colonel in the American Revolutionary War and the first Attorney General of the state of North Carolina, serving from 1777 through 1779. And as we mentioned before, Avery County is often noted for its large amount of Christmas trees produced here. And let's see, we told you the number of people, 17,167. There's more now because the last census was in 2000. And of course it's 2008 as I narrate this. Nice colors, huh? I got over 10 hours of good color video footage during this leaf's color season just because it lasted so long. So you'll be seeing some of that good stuff in Rapid Reference Roads. Quite a bit of it, actually. Let's see what else I should tell you. I'm looking at some information from the Wikipedia, the Internet's online encyclopedia, about Avery County. It mentions cities and towns. Now, Newland's pretty small, and the other towns mentioned like Banner Elk, Beech Mountain, Crossnore. We went through Crossnore. You saw most of it. And then there's Elk Park, Grandfather, which is at the base of Grandfather Mountain, Linville, Minneapolis, and you thought Minneapolis was in Minnesota. It's not, it's in Avery County. And it's just a wide place in the road. Of course, Newland, the county seat, and Seven Devils and Sugar Mountain, both of which started as ski resorts and turned into conglomerations of houses and condos and so forth. So that's the information on Avery County and the beautiful mountains of western North Carolina. These are what are called the Northern Mountains. And Newland is maybe 60 miles or so from Asheville. And the best way to go is the way we're going back, 221. Take I-40 to Eau Forte, get on Old 74, and take it to 221, which is on the outskirts of Marion in McDowell County. Marion's the county seat of McDowell County. And then take 221 north. You may have noticed there we're entering the National Forest. We go in and out of the National Forest several times on these trips. So we're heading down the mountain now. If we'd turned left at the top of this grade, we'd have gone over to Linville Falls, which is something we'll be filming for our Waterfalls of the Southern Highlands series soon. And this is a pretty steep grade down through here, and but it comes out in flat country. Linville Caverns is located down here also. On the right, we'll be passing it in a few miles. It's a commercial cave. One I haven't actually been through. One of these days I'm going to have to do it. And I've been to a lot of caves over the years. I've been to Carlsbad in New Mexico, and of course Mammoth Caves up in Kentucky, and Endless Caves in Virginia, and Luray Caverns, and several others. I like caves. And I like fall foliage too, and I'm getting to see a lot of it on this trip, and now so are you. We're in those of you who watch Rapid Ralph Runs the Roads know we're in the Lieutenant Colonel, which is my four-wheel SUV that runs with shock and all over western North Carolina and a good part of eastern Tennessee and northern Georgia at times. That's Karen, the GPS unit, the small silver box on the dash. I don't actually have the map punched up now, but she is in contact with the satellites and tell me when I'll get back home and so forth. Down in sort of the lower left, very bottom of the screen is you can see just the top of my satellite radio. I have a lot of fun listening to that on these long trips. And so that's and of course we're using my high definition camera, which is in this setup mounted between the seats. This seems to be the best setup. We try to set up where we take the seat back off the right hand passenger seat and mount it right behind it, and you can see more of the scenery out front through the windshield because the rear view mirror is not in the way. There's the entrance to the caverns. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous out through there. Anyway, the rear view mirror is not in the way, but it seems to be bumpier over there. It's so I'm going back to putting it in the center just like this. This seems to be the optimal setup for shooting video, but we're going to be adding some other stuff too. We're always trying to improve the experience for those of you who watch Rapid Ralph. And we're going to be adding additional cameras so we can show more than one viewpoint and switch back and forth between them. And that should be coming up shortly. I've got the cameras, it's just finding the time to mount them and get the type setup I want. So now we're down in the I won't say flat country, but flatter country. At least the roads not quite as not quite the grade it was as we were coming down the mountain. So anyway, we're making good time. There's only about another 5 minutes of this trip, so we'll get down a little bit closer to Marion, and meanwhile get to see some pretty colored leaves as we go through here. Good looking country. And we are now in McDowell County. And of course McDowell County is bordered on its western side by Buncombe County, which is the county that I live in. And if you live in Asheville or the Asheville area, you also live in Buncombe County. Buncombe County, of course, engendered the word bunkum, B-U-N-K-U-M. Interesting story about how that came about. Our congressman back in I think it was the late 1820s, early 1830s, but the congressman who represented Buncombe would occasionally make speeches that really didn't have much to do with what was being debated in Congress, and he said he just felt he was obligated to speak for Buncombe. So Buncombe became what part of the jargon and slang of that time, and has continued down to this time. B-U-N-K-U-M as being something that's not really worth listening to. So that's how the word bunkum came about. Of course, Henry Ford, who was great at making automobiles, but not perhaps the most intellectual giant we've ever had in America, said that history was bunkum, or bunk. And as we pass under the railroad here, but history is not bunk. We need to learn from history. We continue making the same mistakes over and over again. This is about 4:30, something like that in the afternoon. I think my appointment in Yearland was about 12:30 or so, and it took a little time, so I'm coming back in the late afternoon. Yes, the windshield is dirty, but I've been driving quite a bit. And you might also notice that there's no sound of the motor. I shot 2 complete hours of video, both the trip up and the trip down, without having the microphone that I use to pick up the motor noise, which is really just for ambience. You don't have to have it, but it was unplugged. Even Video Ralph occasionally makes mistakes. Not often, mind you, but occasionally. However, it gives you sort of a more surreal experience to just be floating along without the motor noise and just have some background music in my voiceover. But I actually prefer having the motor noise down there in the background. For those of you interested in technical details, I have just a regular conference type microphone that I just throw in the back seat and hook to the camera, and it does quite a good job picking up the ambient noise. But anyway, I thought you would enjoy this trip, and I hope you have, and that it gives you a hankering to watch the full version of this show, which will be coming up on Rapid Ralph Runs the Roads, Mondays at 7 on URTV. Go to ralphwroberts.com to see this show again.